Let's talk all about AI in business. It's hosted by Brent Muller. Welcome to the Future Proof Podcast.
Hi, welcome to the Future Proofed Podcast. I'm your host, Brent Muller. I'm here with Hadi Tabani from LiqTeq. Hadi, great to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So this one's going to be really interesting. Hadi, tell me a little bit, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and a little bit about LiqTeq.
All right, so my name is Hadi Tabani. I'm a Rice grad, 2015. Right after Rice, I worked at Accenture as a technology consultant, primarily focused on their DevOps and data analytics space. Worked on the Fortune 100 client list, who were partnered with the Innovation Hub in Houston. So worked on video analytics platforms, data analytics platforms, and predictive analytics, mostly on getting the data assimilated into a single space, building analytics value chains on top, and then presenting it to the C-suite across the board. Learned a lot, but realized that there was a lot of value in building the technology landscape before the analytics space comes in. So I started Liquid 2017, December 2018, January. And actually, I bootstrapped it, went to a friend of mine who owned a retail grocery store and offered to build him his entire dashboarding layer. I built his dashboarding layer within a couple of months and hired a few team members to, take that as a data as a service play and go to other retail founders in the space. We grew from a team of 5 to today 100 people in 3 delivery centers in Philippines, UAE, and Houston, where I and my team sits primarily. Our clients range from Fortune 100 companies like Roche Pharmaceuticals, IQVIA, Vertex Pharma, as well as Trans Global Solutions, which is a radiology company where we're doing video analytics for them in real time. So anywhere from building products all the way to defining AI strategy and building out the AI implementation layer for larger entities as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. And so your vision for Liquid Hub, tell us a little bit about that as you kind of built it from 2017 and you built it up through the retail, right? Now you've expanded and crossed industries. As you look down like over the horizon of the next 3 to 5 years, especially where you see AI layering into companies, what do you see for both? Well, let's start with just with LiqTeq.
So for us specifically, start of 2023, we realized that OpenAI is going to be a game changer. And they launched their first GPT model and 2.5. That was something that I used to start. I started playing with it so fast, Brent. Like I can't kid you not. I was on it. I was talking to it.
It's like a kid in a candy store, right?
Yeah. I told it about myself and I told it about my company, and we started talking about, okay, what am I doing right with my marketing strategy? What am I doing right with my project management strategy? How am I growing my team ROIs? And how am I managing them? And it just started answering me. It's more sophisticated than any strategy manager that I hired, and more succinct, more collaborative than my entire, at that time, my team. And what I did was I told my entire team that before talking to anyone, first talk to GPT at that time.
It's
so
great.
We enabled our team to, we were already partnered with Google. So we're partnered with Google, we're partnered with Microsoft. So we were using Copilot and Bard regularly in most of our pipelines for delivery. Right. Our emails were vetted, our project management statuses were automatically sent out. And in 2024, February, we started optimizing our folks. So in sales, we stopped hiring and we started optimizing the people that were already there by adding AI agents on top.
Right.
And our sales, rather than going down, went up. And they went up for one specific reason, because all of their, back work, data entry work was automated. Emails were sent
Right.
automatically after meetings. Clients were being updated about project management every week. On a Friday, a project management scope delivery email was sent. For the people who wanted weekly emails, for the people who
Right.
wanted monthly emails, we did those. So
Right.
we were always very delivery focused, and growth through delivery and growth through delivering excellent work. Excellence has always been something that we've always prioritized, and also something that we talk to our clients about. What does excellence mean for them? How can we enable them to achieve their goals? And AI was helping us derive those results. So I think in the future, we still haven't really capped how much usage it will give to each entity and each company. And
Right.
that's why we launched our AI strategy workshops for companies that hadn't done their end-to-end strategy of how to embed and utilize AI in their daily workflows. We come in 6 weeks, we hash out their data flows, we go in depth into what can be automated, what are the repetitive tasks that have the highest value. We assign those priority tasks, and we create a proper roadmap of how to enable AI. We have our own AI agents that we've built out. We utilize the agents that are already out in the market, that are better than
Right.
us sometimes, and sometimes do critical work at a lower cost. So providing the most value to our clients is, number one priority for us. So I
Oh,
think
I
this is
love that.
something that we will double down moving forward as well.
Yeah, and as you look down, because this is part of why we started the podcast. It's definitely what our audience, other founders and CEOs and execs are looking for, right? Is how does AI layer into their business, right? And how does it make them more productive, and where do they start, right? So
Right.
hearing the way you did it for your own companies, maybe you're eating your own dog food, right? And now your AI strategies do that. So as you look forward, like if I'm a new founder, right, or a founder that's thinking about how do I hit my next phase of growth, right? Where do they start, right?
So I think they're hearing this from everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
start small, find an actionable plan that you can implement very fast. If you can do it yourself, great. If you can't or do not have the bandwidth to, outsource it to someone who is an expert in it. And
Right.
most of the companies that reach out to us are at that level where they just they can't run the operations and run the sales and embed AI. So they reach out to us, hey, can we go through your AI strategy workshop? Can you find quick wins that we can do with AI and map out our flows, automate the tasks that we can easily, and work with my team. And those are founders that want to achieve growth very fast with their teams. And their essential challenge is, how do I embed it tomorrow? Right.
Right.
And
Right.
so I can see the success, iterative success from day one. And my very easy guidance and something that they can do very easily is write down something that you do every day. Write down all those tasks that you do every day and talk to GPT about how can I automate these tasks. ChatGPT or any other large language model will break it
Right.
down to you, and they will talk to you of, okay, these are the things you can do, these are the agents that you can enable. Access to Google can be given, or Copilot can be given in that form of way. But when you're
Right.
doing larger tasks where you need multiple agents or multiple people to get involved to deliver something, that's where the value is, even for us. Like,
Yeah.
single tasks can be automated by yourselves. But when you're doing the larger task, that, hey, I want to achieve, growth for SEO, for instance, in three
Right.
months. How do I achieve that? Then a system needs to be put into place. That's where companies come into play, where large agentic flows come into play. And that's where companies would reach out to agencies. Hey, can you help me master this and automate this piece of work that's been taking so much of my team's time.
Right.
Similarly, critical pieces of how AI has been working has been through video analytics, the data that is streaming through your video devices. Similarly, your basic automation or accounting and finance systems, automating invoices, automating reconciliation, automating expense distribution, machine and maintenance, automating conversations for maintenance, putting in predictive maintenance. These are the larger entities when they come into play. These are the problems that they're thinking about. And there are smaller agents that you can deploy to automate larger tasks within these verticals. And what we're trying to do is build agents around them, and other companies as well. They're trying to build agents around the verticals themselves, and these are the things that would be needed to focus on to gather larger amounts of data, streamline it, put it into a database, and then take actions on top.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, man, there's so many dovetails I could take right off of what you just said. So, if you're thinking about it, and from basically from I would think from by department, right, within a company, right, whether it's sales, marketing, or sales and marketing together, whether it's your operations, right, your client success and delivery, right, your back end administration system, you kind of walk through those. And so, when you do your AI workshops, do you delve into all of those areas? Do you recommend people focus on, like, you started with one where, hey, let's get some quick wins, and then we kind of go department by department? How do you think someone, right, at the founder level attacks that?
Very good question. And that's something that we have a checklist for. So before we start the AI strategy workshop, we actually sit with you to define the checklist that, okay, what are the larger pain points that we've been seeing within the organization? And then we go ahead and find out, okay, where are the data points for these pain points that need to be worked on, delve deeper into. And once we have that data points, we create a data flow of how that pain point is occurring and what are the pieces where the bottlenecks are. So we literally create a flow diagram of Figma, walk the founder through, okay, this is your pain point, this is how it's occurring. We can implement AI here to create a compliance alert, to intimate your teammates when they see something specific around this, so that they can take actions on it. Because at the end of the day, data is already there. It's how to get actionable data at the fingertips of the person who's going to make that decision. And that's going to be
Absolutely.
critical. And AI
Yeah.
enables us to do that really fast. Larger companies are already utilizing this philosophy. We call it the design thinking process. And the mix between the AI potential and what design thinking enables us to do is insane. And that's how we start the AI strategy workshop.
Got it. Got it. That makes complete sense. And that way they know, coming out of that 6 weeks, where they're going to attack, what their efficiency gains they're looking to target, right? And usually AI, beats or exceeds that anyway, but it's not even about that. It's about, something like, I've seen it, and you tell me, because then my next question to you is going to be asking about impacts, right, that you've seen. But I've seen it already in some of the clients that we work with, is that, something that would take them days or 8 and 12 hours is now taking minutes, because they've put AI in the right place to draw down the big pain point. What have you seen, right? Because you've done it with a bigger, broader spectrum of clients already.
First, we did it with ourselves, right? And how we did it with ourselves, in our online meetings, we have our agent Sally join those meetings. And when Sally joins, Sally's taking notes. Otter was there before, but we created our
Right.
own just so that we could automate our own workloads.
Right.
Sally's taking notes throughout the meeting, and we have a trigger word within an organization that activates Sally to create an action item in Jira and assign it to the person that action item needs to be given to.
That's fantastic.
With the conversation link that it can pick up from Otter or
Right.
any of our recording tools, so that if they don't understand what the action item is referring to, they click on that link, takes them to the conversation point. Changes the game.
Right.
So
Because now they have context, right? If they don't have
exactly,
context, they
right?
know where to go, right?
Where to
And they
go?
don't need to
And
set up a
you don't.
meeting. Right.
Yes, I don't have to go talk to everyone in my team and explain the same problem multiple times. I'm in the meeting with my client. I tell them, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. This is the timeline that we're going to get it to. Sally's already put in those action items in Jira. And I actually learned this through one of the conversations I saw on LinkedIn with Krish. He's a CEO of Fireflies. And
Yeah.
Fireflies was enabled to do this like 6 months ago. So, and we
Right.
thought, because we had to integrate a lot within our own internal tools, we had to do something ourselves for this. So we enabled it, and the amount of time our project management team is saving, the amount of time it's saving us to put everything in perspective and prioritize as well, it's a no-brainer to implement.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Uh, Again, just for day-to-day efficiencies, right? What you just explained, I don't think most people know that, one, that you can do that. Two, how impactful it is from a time savings. Have you measured any of the like the time savings or the cost savings on that?
Let me Time savings. I think a week we save around 3 to 4 hours a person, because 10 minutes or 15 minutes after meeting, all the notes are compiled. So 3 to 4 hours per person, depending if they're taking 4 meetings a day, right? A
Wow.
week.
Right.
So that's around what per person, around 16 hours
A
a
month?
month.
Yeah, it's huge.
Insane, right?
Right.
$100
Right.
an hour. That's $1,600 a month per person that I'm saving.
Yeah.
Similarly, we actually derived ROI on one of the products that we built out for one of our clients. So I was telling you about this rail yard company. I'm going to send you some videos, and you can find this online as well. So we posted a case study of what we did with them. They had rail yards coming in, rail lines coming into their yard, and if the cap was open of the rail, it used to create a problem, because spillage used to occur. They used to warrant it out, and then the company they used to warrant it to used to fight or file a claim against it that, hey, this is not ours,
Right.
etc. What we did was we deployed cameras on either side of the train, on the yard,
Right.
and we caught spillages happening in real time, and we sent out the warrant in real time. And that was 5x ROI in year one in terms of
Wow.
amount of revenue generated. Uh,
Right. Right. And if you think about it, it's a simple solution, right? It's just, right.
and
It's just,
we didn't guarantee 100%. We started, it was 60, 70%, and it started becoming better over time. And that's what AI is going to do. It's going to start at a 50%, 60% accuracy, but you keep training it, keep working with
right.
it.
Keep
It's going to get
feeding
better
it and
and better.
training it, right?
Because
Yes.
data is its actual feed.
Fuel. Yeah. Yeah. It's the fuel
Absolutely.
for, right, for learning. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Hadi, I'm like, I love this stuff. I could talk all day about it. So a little bit, changing gears as you look out and on the horizon, right? Because you really have a bird's eye view, like almost a behind the curtain, right? Working through these technologies and these problems across multiple industries. What do you see, right, in the next 3 to 5 years that, if I'm another founder and I'm watching this and I'm thinking, all right, I now know how to get started. I know some of the use cases, right? You've just walked me through some use cases and I can start to get my brain thinking about it. But when I start to look on the horizon, I also want to be future thinking, right? What would you recommend to other founders of like as they implement this? What should they be thinking about?
That's a great question, and something that I actually have a conversation with founders all the time. Um, so Sam Altman keeps saying this, that OpenAI, the way it's innovating and the way it's evolving, it's going to beat every other founder trying to do this on his own, just because of the volume of resources and the money they're putting into it, right?
Right,
Imagine what OpenAI did in the 12 days. They
right,
released O1, and then they released O3,
right,
with huge benchmark changes in their results, right? And if you take that as something that's going to keep happening, uh, you know, uh, uh, base one, imagine what AI will be able to do, or these large language models will be able to do over time. In next year, in the year after that, it's going to be exponential. Utilizing the base layers and building from that, and the day they release a new model, you learn from it of how they've optimized and then embed into your own layers. You can build very, very powerful tools, because what they're building for is a global community. What you need to build is for a niche targeted market. Pick up a targeted
Right.
market, something that you're already working in. Something that I was already working in was clients, relationships, consulting. And we pick that up and we try to optimize how we're delivering value day in, day out. Our problem is we're working against, or are competing against McKinsey's, Deloitte's,
Right.
Accentures of the world, right? They have larger budgets, larger teams, larger resources on the bench. But where we can utilize and deliver value is by deploying our resources in and out much faster at a much lower cost, and drive a lot of value in terms of investments. So ROI
Yeah.
in terms of investments. So, and that we blow everyone out of the park when you compare in those metrics, right? And that's
Right.
what we realized. Okay, how do we make this better? How do we make this better? How do we make this better? And just double down on the product side of it. For example, the video analytics, we've created a simple platform around that called Vedan AI that can be deployed for anyone, right? Anyone
Yes.
who has a similar problem, they can pick up the model, they can train their own model, and then deploy it. And we've hired a separate team to work on this, a CEO, etc. Just because we've realized that there was a potential AI enabler. This product could be something that can use the
Absolutely.
exponential of OpenAI day
Right.
one and then grow with it.
Right.
And that's what I would
So you're
recommend for
growing
every
that
founder out there.
separately, right? You're growing that platform separately. That's it.
I've taken a board seat. I've taken a board seat, and we've handed over to the team that actually built it out, because I was actually
Fantastic.
strategy separate, execution separate. Execution people
Yeah.
actually do the product really well.
Yeah. No, that's great. And Hadi, I could see that happening in other, because like you said, the verticals, right? I watched a Y Combinator podcast, right, where they were going through the name escaping me right now. I'll add it back in, but basically it was the team that developed the legal um research
Legal
AI,
AI.
right?
Okay.
Yeah. And it was bought by Thomson Reuters, FindLaw bought them, but now and they deploy it. But what they were talking about is how they brought in hundreds and hundreds of lawyers to play with it, right? So it trained it on how would a good lawyer handle this, right? So what you're doing in these like with video analytics alone, right? I can see that happening for the smaller impacts, right? And platforms will naturally develop because you're solving a single problem that everybody has or tons of people have and that value. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you wind up spinning off more things like that.
100%. But at the end of the day, I feel like depth has a lot of value, especially in AI. But OpenAI gives you a lot of those bells and whistles from the get go.
Yeah.
OpenAI, Google's AI suite, even Anthropic's AI suite. For video, they have their own separate models. For audio, they have their own separate models. So, utilizing those and building on top specifically for a problem statement that is vast enough and enough people will pay for that problem. I think
Right.
those are the crucial things that entrepreneurs of tomorrow will need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and So, as you look across the industries that you're already in, do you see? Because I feel like from my vantage point that I see AI as one, it just becomes part of everything you do. It should be, right? And so many founders are sitting on the fence on this, um, and not sure, maybe paralyzed by where to go first, which we've already addressed earlier in the podcast. But as we start to look out, is do you see? basically disruptors in industries as this comes in? Because that's the way I kind of see it. But I'd love to hear your perspective.
So I think the LLM scenarios just taken a complete different trajectory since 2022. And the way it's evolving, I, similar to everyone in the field, have a very interesting feeling, which is that disruption can happen from anywhere.
Right.
However, people who have taken the 10-year journey, something that Jensen Wong says, right? Take a
Yeah.
20-year target, 30-year target, and just put your head down, keep working at it, and research back, research focused. Those are the things that will drive the most value. So if someone's doing that, we're following the space, we're researching the space. We found a few people who are doing some very cool stuff, but something as revolutionary as what the open AI and Anthropics and Geminis have done. I see it happening much faster than what the last time this happened to us.
Yeah.
So definitely, we are here for a ride in the technology space. It took Elon a couple of years to create a robo taxi, right? But
Yeah.
how quickly he created a robot that could do house chores. Did you see the difference in time? So I think
Yeah.
disruption is going to happen much faster than it
Yeah.
used to happen. And we can just keep our eyes out and also try to do that disruption ourselves in some way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and for the founders that are more on the fear side than than the excitement side right now, right? How would you recommend that they kind of change that? Because to me, you have to embrace this, right? And that's what I tell every founder I talk to. You have to embrace it fast. So, what would be your recommendation that way?
I To every founder who is fearing AI, I could only say one thing. Fear can only be addressed head first. So the best thing to do is just talk to it because it's open to talk
Yeah.
to anyone, right?
Right.
And once you start, as I said, when it was launched, all I did was start talking to it, and I started talking to it about my company. It's a very powerful tool to bend your way. Um, However, it does consume a lot of your data and remembers
Yeah.
all of that data. So that is scary.
Yeah.
Um,
It is.
but the overall advantages are also pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
The speed, the agility it adds to your workforce, the speed and agility it adds to your thought process and your delivery timelines. There's no comparison to what it would be without.
Yeah. And I agree, right? And so I'm, as being the host of this, and I talked to so many really smart founders and especially of companies like yourself, is just how impactful this is. It's the most impactful thing I've ever seen in my lifetime, and that's including, right, the birth of the internet, right? So it's, to me, there's just no comparison, and it's just a matter of where you use it and how you use it to make an impact in your specific company. But and Hadi, this has been phenomenal. I know we're going to have you back on several of these, just because of your breadth of experience and knowledge in this area. But what I would like to do for our founders, right, is I'd like you to tell a little bit about how they would engage with LiqTeq, how they would get in touch with you, and where they could go do some research on the stuff that you've done. And if you give me a few minutes on that, that'd be great.
So the best thing that they can do is we actually release Sally today. Happy New Year, everyone. Um, it's on our website, www.liqteq.com, like tech. And you go there, Sally's right at the bottom, start talking to it. It's going to ask your name. It's going to tell you a little bit about what we do. Any specific questions you have about any of our workshops, any of our products, you can directly ask. And if you're not getting the answer, set up a call.
Absolutely. And I'll have all the links here in the bottom and how to get in touch with Hadi and his team. And I would highly recommend that you have conversations with Hadi and his team because there's no better time to institute this into your business than right now. Because if you think about just some of the stuff that we've talked about earlier in the podcast, simple things like Sally, right, that can save 4 hours a week per person for meetings. If you think about the impact, because what Heidi didn't talk about, he's only talking about this cost savings of that. But imagine the productivity gains in that time that they
Gains,
don't spend in
absolutely.
those meetings. So it's a 2-for-1 bang, right? So you're really getting
100%.
twice on that because they're that much more productive. And if you think about extrapolating that into different parts of your workflow, how impactful this can be to a company, this is exactly why we started Future Proof, because we want people to understand how they can accelerate growth in ways that you're not thinking about today. So, Hadi, I can't thank you enough. This has been phenomenal. We're definitely going to have you back. And
Thank you, Brent.
it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure as well. And thank you for having me here. I hope to see you again.
Thank you.
If you're ready to embrace change and lead with innovation, be sure to subscribe and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Future Proof Podcast.